Greetings and welcome to another Enrichment with the Gifted Guy. What we're going to be learning about today is how to solve a logic puzzle. Logic puzzles are just as it sounds. You use logic in order to solve them. We talked about previous puzzles such as Sudoku, where you use logic as well, but this gives you, rather than numbers, this gives you actual clues. And then those clues either point to certain things or eliminate other things. And then when you put it all together, you have solved the logic puzzle. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on a couple together. And then I'm going to provide you what you see right here is a link to a free download that has 10 logic puzzles. A couple of them we'll be using today. The other ones are just there for fun. And then I'm also going to show you some websites that are really good for free logic puzzles that you can do. So here is what a logic puzzle looks like, but I'm going to break down the grid for you so that you can get a better understanding. So the first thing is that there are these different categories. You can see here we have category 1 is the amount of money spent. Category 2 are the number of people that are involved. Category 3 is the color that they have, and then category 4 is their astrological sign, their zodiac sign. So you would have to figure out how much Bonita spent, what her astrological sign is, and the color, using the clues that they give you. And then you see there are individual items within these. You have the blue, the violet, the Sagittarius. So you have each person's going to get one of these. And so you have to break it down like that. You have your subgrids. So you notice that this Gemini and Cancer and Pisces is also over here. And you also have these colors that are also over here. And what you find out is that you will go kind of up and down the grid. And then if you fill in orange here, you have to fill in orange over here as well. And then that gives you a better idea. So here's what it looks like all together. These different rows, sub-rows, columns, sub-columns, and boxes. And then so if you're doing it on a computer program, like I'll show you later, you do the green dot means that that's what it is. And everything else becomes an X. So all of these become X's and all of these become X's because it can't possibly be, if you figured out one, you've eliminated the others. A false marker is usually an X. When I'm doing it by hand, just a piece of paper, I use a star to indicate that that's the box, and I just make X's in the box. And then when you're doing it, it kind of looks like this. So you know that if Daryl is $50, then no one else can be $50. So you can eliminate all the other possibilities for Daryl and all those. So this would be incorrect because it has both Daryl and Mario on the $50, which is impossible. So that would be an incorrect one. And so this is what it looks like as you're solving it. You start to see that you're putting the green ones in. By putting the green ones in, you are making the red boxes using the clues. And so what you're left with is only what is possible. And so that's what logic puzzles do, is they eliminate what is not possible, and whatever is left is possible. Sometimes it will be very obvious. Sometimes you have to use dig a little deeper in your deductive reasoning. What we have here is a very simple 2x2 logic puzzle where we have these 4 people, Amy, Bob, Cal, and Deb. We must figure out which one of these owns the bird, which owns the cat, which owns the dog, and which owns the fish. The way that logic puzzles work is if we figure out that Amy owns the fish, then that means that Bob, Cal, and Deb cannot own the fish. So those can be eliminated. And so in other words, you're not going to have 2 people that own the fish. It's not meant to trick you like that. It uses logic. So we're going to take these clues and we're going to try to either find which pet belongs to a person or eliminate which pet doesn't belong with a person, which may leave us with the pet that person has. So we have 3 clues here. The first one is that Bob's pet can't fly. So if we look at Bob and the possibilities, a cat, a dog, and a fish can't fly. So what that does is eliminate the bird from Bob, because birds can fly, unless Bob owns a penguin, which is probably not likely. Birds fly, so The cat and the dog and the fish are our selections, are possible selections for Bob. So we've just eliminated bird. That's what we've done. The second one says that Cal's pet has hair and so does Deb. So both Cal and Deb have pets with hair. So if we look at bird, cat, dog, and fish, the two that have hair are the cat and dog. So what that means is that Deb and Cal cannot be the bird, and they cannot be the fish. What that has done now is that has left us, by eliminating these three, it's left us with only one possibility, which is that Amy owns the bird. That's her pet. And so now that we have this identified, we already have these three X's. We also X these three because she can't have the cat, dog, and fish. She already has the bird, so these three are eliminated, which means the only one left for Bob is the fish. So Bob actually does own the fish. So now we have to, so we can take the same thing, these X's here, and then these X's across here. So now all we have to figure out is who has the cat and who has the dog. And our third clue lets us know. It says that Deb's pet doesn't bark. Dogs do bark, cats do not. So using logic, Deb is the proud owner of the cat, eliminating her from the dog, eliminating Cow from the cat, which means the only thing left is the dog. So like I said, a very simple logic puzzle. Most logic puzzles have more than just a 2x2. They can be 3x3, 4x4, 5x5. And depending on the clues that are given, they become harder or easier. So if it just comes right out and tells you certain things, that makes it easier than if you have to kind of use deductive reasoning and read between the lines in order to figure out what the clue is indicating. I'm going to be talking about a couple of websites that are really good for finding free logic puzzles. The first one is here, which is called Puzzler's Paradise. Has a lot of logic puzzles on it. And what they also have, what I like, is this for someone who is not verbal but is more auditory. You can look at something like this and you can get a good understanding of how it works. So in this case, this puzzle is a little more advanced than the one that we worked on. But one we worked on before was just a 2-grid, which was, it had the people and it had their pets. This one has the people, the month they were born, and the day they were born that we have to figure out. So there's more to it, and that's what makes it more complex. And I'm not going to go through every single detail, but what is nice about this, and I'll show you, is that it has its 5 clues here, and then it runs through each clue and how to solve different parts of it. So here's clue number 1, and since the clue is that Paula was born in March but not on a Saturday, Abigail's birthday was not on Friday or Wednesday. So what you can do is the first clue gives you information that Paula was born in March. You can just mark that, and then the other ones get X'd out as a result. And it says since Paula was not born on a Saturday, we could eliminate that one. And we could also eliminate the fact that Abigail was born on a Wednesday or Friday. So that just gives us some that we can eliminate. And then the second clue gives us additional information. And if you notice here, we are putting more X's than we got. And that's how logic puzzles typically work, is you are trying to find what to eliminate. And then what is left, Sherlock Holmes was famous for saying, when you eliminate all that is impossible, all that is left is possible. And that's what you do with a logic puzzle, is you eliminate everything that isn't possible. And then what's left is the answer. And so here's clue number 3. And they have found a couple more. And the more information that you find in a puzzle, the more sense some of the clues will make. So you won't necessarily go through the clues just once and have everything. You may have to go through them a couple of times because you'll get additional information that will make the clue even better. So here's clue number 4, where we're getting more and more and more. And by the time we get to the 5th clue, the person was able to solve the entire puzzle and with the solution. And so if you are someone that wants to needs to get a little more on how to do these, this is a good this particular page right here is a good one to go as it walks you through how it did that. So I am more a kinesthetic learner. I like to learn by doing. I'm also a visual learner. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to walk you through a puzzle together so you can see how a puzzler would solve it. So here's another puzzle site. This is called puzzlebarren.com. And they have lots of free puzzles on there. They also have books that you can purchase and downloads that you can get and apps that you can buy. So all sorts of things. But there are enough free puzzles on there to keep you pretty busy. And what you can put in is you can put in at this logic.puzzlebarren.com, you can put in the grid that you want. So I put in a 4x4 to challenge us even more. So now we have to figure out these actors. We have to figure out how much they were paid, the roles that they played, and the dates. You can see we're adding yet another level, which makes it even more complex. And what I like about doing them online, you can do them pencil, paper, that's fine. Make sure you use a pencil because you are going to make mistakes and you want to be able to erase and get quite messy. The nice thing about doing it online is it's not as messy and it fills in some of it for you, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So what we have is we have all of our clues over here, 7 clues, and we're going to use them to solve this puzzle. So the first clue is that Vernon won't play the father. So if I go to Vernon and I go to father, I can eliminate that just by clicking it once. If I click it once, it becomes an X. If I click it twice, it becomes the circle. That means that that's what it is. If I click it again, then it disappears. So in this case, I'm going to eliminate by clicking. So I don't think that information is going to give me any more clues. So I'm going to take that and click on it, and then it moves to what's called use clues. So that way I can just look at the active clues. The second one says the actor filming on September 22nd will make $30,000 less than Oscar. So this actually gives us 2 pieces of information if you read it carefully. So we know that the person filming on September 22nd is not Oscar because it says that they have different salaries. So we can go to Oscar and eliminate the 22nd. It also says they'll make $30,000 less than Oscar. So if you go to the fees here, you can see they all are by $15,000. So that means if they make $30,000 less, then that's 2 of those. So this is what this looks like. So since Oscar is going to be making $30,000 more, it means he can't be making either one of these because then the person can't make $30,000 less than him. So that also means that this person cannot make these 2. So that gives us, again, some eliminations. By reading carefully, if I just hadn't the 30,000 and doing the math, I'd figure that out. So that might give us more information. So I'm going to leave that one for right now. Gerald, the person making $130,000, and the man who played the firefighter are 3 different people. So this helps us to eliminate. So Gerald is not $130,000. Gerald is not the firefighter. That means that the firefighter is not $130,000. And that should clear everything that we needed to clear there. That might give us more information. It may not. I'll leave it there for right now. Sometimes I'll just flat out come out and tell you what a clue is. So this is Gerald will play the senator. So you can just go and just mark that Gerald will play the senator. And like I said, so it filled the online ones fill it in for you that these can't be possibilities. That's not going to give us any more clues, so I'm going to move that down to my use clues. Oscar will film on September 29th. So if I go to the 29th and go right there, I can eliminate that. Oh, sorry, it said Oscar will film. So sorry. So that's that. So I can eliminate that. It's not giving me more information. And then of Gerald and the man who will play the uncle. So now we know that Gerald is not the uncle, which we've already shown. So we were checking our work there. We're good there. The one will film on September 22nd. The other one will make $150,000. So what we can look here is, will Gerald have the possibility of make $115,000? He does. Could he possibly film on September 22nd? He could. But let's go to the person who might be the uncle and see if any of those are eliminated. Okay, so we've got what we can of that for right now, but that might give us more information later on. So I'm going to leave that for right now. The last one is the man filming on October 13th will make $15,000 more than Oscar. So we know that Oscar is not October 13th, and we've proven that here. We've already figured that one out. But we know he'll make that person will make 15,000 less than Oscar. So Oscar can't be the bottom one, which we've already established. I'm sorry, he'll make 15,000 more. So that means that Oscar can't be the top one, because otherwise that person has nowhere to go. So that now we've eliminated that. That means that Oscar is there. It also tells us that the person on October 13th can't be the least. So now that you've gone through your clues once, you can clear up your grid. So what I mean by this is we have some information for Oscar here. Oscar is 115,000 and September 29th, and we know, so we can complete the grid across. And we also know that he's not the senator. So now that we know that that's his row, we can eliminate the senator. And so we're just cleaning up our row because we have this information. It informs these other grids. So we figured out so going through the clues once, we figured out 4 of the clues, but we still have more to go. So what we do is we go back to your clues and see if it gives you additional information, because we've figured some things out. And so we now have new information that we can use. So this one is the actor filming on September 22nd, which is right here, will make $30,000 less than Oscar. We know Oscar, so this is where this comes into play. We know Oscar is $115,000. And the person on September 22nd is going to make $30,000 less. So that means that they are there because that's $30,000 less than Oscar. So that gives us that, and that means we can move that down to our use clues. It's not going to give us any more information. Gerald, the person making $130,000, and the person playing the firefighter are 3 different people. So we've already kind of established that. I don't think that's going to give us any more. Let's see if these last 2 clues can start to fill in some blanks for us. Of Gerald and the man who will play the uncle. So we know he's not the uncle. One will film on September 22nd. The other will make $115,000. Well, we know now by other clues that Gerald cannot make $115,000. That must mean that he films on the 22nd. It also means that the person playing the uncle will make $115,000. So now we've completed Oscar. We have Oscar, September 29th, and uncle. Now we can mark this as uncle. And you see, by doing that, what we have done is now eliminated 3 possibilities. Harold has to be the father, and that means that Vernon has to be the firefighter. So that additional information is going to become very helpful. So now we're going to complete our grids. So we know Oscar, those 3 are done. September 22nd. And so we've eliminated quite a bit. So we're going to go back to our clue and see if we can get anything more out of it. Of Gerald and the man who will play the uncle, who's right here. One will be on the 22nd. Well, we've already established that. The other will make $115,000, which is right here. And then the man filming on October 13th, right here, will make $15,000 more than Oscar. So we know Oscar is $115,000. And since this person is making more, they move to here. And all of a sudden, we've got all that solved as well. So now what we can do is we can use the puzzle itself to solve the rest of this. So what I mean by this is if we know information such as the fact that Gerald is the 22nd, and this is the 22nd, that means Gerald must be there. So that eliminates that. And so now we have all 3 of these, and we can figure out that he is the senator. So what that has done, again, by cleaning up our grid, is it eliminates that the possibilities, and the father has to make $130,000. So now, if you can figure out that who the father is, which is indicated right here, it's Harold. Harold now has to be making $130,000. That leaves us that one. And then we can figure out this bottom one just by looking here that if Harold is $130,000 and he is the father, we check this $130,000. October 13th is his date. So we solve that there and we solve that there. You notice I didn't use this box at all. I typically don't when I'm doing a 4x4, but some people do. And so I use it just to place information there to help with the others. But now we can see if we got this correct. So I'm gonna hit clear errors and it says there are no errors. So that means that this is correct. And so if we look on our answers, we'll see that I was correct. And that Gerald was $85,000, September 22nd, and the senator, and so on and so forth. The nice thing about logic puzzles is that you can find a level that is going to challenge you. So there's all sorts of possibilities. So I showed you some pretty simple, a 1x1, a 2x2. This is a 5x5. So the more levels you add, of course, the more difficult it becomes. There are other ways that you can make it more challenging as well. So for this one, there are only 6 clues. You could have even less clues than that, or some of the clues may not be as obvious as others. So that the reason why I like logic puzzles is that you can find what level best fits you, what's going to challenge you. If it's really easy to do the logic puzzle, that's probably not your level. You want to keep going until you get to ones that you are having difficulty doing or that are a challenge. And that way you can push yourself to get to that level of understanding and keep challenging yourself to go even further and further.